Let's head into the world of technology now, and all eyes are on Apple's new iPhone, which hits stores in the United States tomorrow. Now, this is a cell phone, a music player, a personal computer complete with email and web access, all of it built into one device. It's considered to be the next revolution in technology, much like what happened when the iPod hit the market a few years back. No word yet on when it's coming to Canada, but it's expected to be released in Europe and Asia within a year or so. And of course, like all great pieces of new technology, it won't be cheap. Elias Makos is our tech and trends columnist, and you know, this is really an impressive device any way you slice it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Apple has done something which they say is putting three devices into one, their best iPod ever, a cell phone, and an internet communicator is what they're calling it, a way to check your email and surf the web, the real internet, and not a mobile version of the internet. So this is definitely something that we haven't seen so far. You
know, one of the most impressive things is the screen, because you're actually using your finger to move and scroll right on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, I mean, this is part of Apple's genius, okay? They've decided that people don't want to use a stylus, and they don't want to use a huge keyboard that takes up half the size of a device. They've decided the easiest way for someone to use one of these devices is with their fingers, and they've created some impressive software in order to make it very easy to do things. And that's been one of the downfalls of other cell phones and other smartphones, is that the software that they run on isn't very easy to use, and Apple's trying to remedy that problem.
You know, I don't want to be a wet blanket here, but there is a lot of hype out there, and there are also some glitches or potential glitches to this device.
Well, you know, with every new device that could happen. One thing about the iPhone is that, you know, it's the software that runs it, and that's going to make it a decent product. And if Apple wants to upgrade that software, they can at any time. So a lot of the things that people are talking about, the fact that it doesn't have an instant message program, or the fact that it doesn't play flash video, that could be remedied with a software update.
But what about the battery? Because, you know, I've had an iPod now for years, and that seems to be really the Achilles heel for Apple, is the battery life. It just eats so much power that it doesn't last as long as they say it's going to.
And that's been part of Apple's genius in this whole 6-month period, because they announced it in January. They sort of touched on the battery life, and they touched on the screen issues, because people are saying it might scratch easily. And then what happens last week? Apple announces, we've upgraded the screen, we've upgraded the battery, and here's how long it will last, and it lasts longer than any other smartphone out there. And this 1 week before they launch. So Apple's been really smart about this. I think they've heard the complaints or the issues that people may have with the product, like the iPhone, and they're trying to deal with that, and they've done it in a brilliant fashion, marketing-wise.
Now, in terms of Canada, you have some information, but you still don't have any sort of date, right?
Well, a lot of things have to happen in Canada before the iPhone can come here. One is Apple's going to have to satisfy, or at least get a handle on, the demand in the States. If they can't, you know, get enough iPhones to the U.S. customers, they're not going to come here just yet. Another thing that has to happen is Apple has to come to an agreement with a carrier in Canada. You know, most likely that would be Rogers, because the version in the States runs on the GSM network, and Rogers is a GSM network here in Canada. So someone has to come to an agreement. That was not an easy process in the States. Apple went to Verizon and Sprint and AT&T, and only AT&T agreed to the terms that Apple had. And there's a lot of rumors out there. We don't know exactly what those terms are, but you know, there are rumors that Apple asked for a cut of the subscriber fees, the subscription fees. So if a carrier in Canada isn't willing to negotiate or come to terms with Apple, it may be even longer before we get it here.
All right, but I'm sure you'll be one of the first to get one, won't you?
I probably will, yeah.
All right, Elias Makos, thanks a lot for being here today.
You're welcome.
And we'll be right back. All eyes are